everybody, we're back with another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at 8 fish that get super big and some good alternatives to getting them instead. Alright, so the first fish we're going to be talking about today is the silver arowana. The silver arowana gets to about 4 feet maximum in the home aquarium as well as in the wild. These fish grow really big. They also grow really fast as well. They can reach up to 2 feet in the first year. They originate from the Amazon basin, the Oyapock basin, if I'm not mistaken. If I haven't said that correctly, please forgive me. And the Essequibo basin. I can't pronounce these at all. These are all found obviously in South America, where this fish originates from. Usually you can get these fish for between 30 and 75 pounds depending on how big they are. So I think that range is from 4 inches to about 8 inches. The alternative fish that you can get to the silver arowana is the black arowana. The black arowana is found in South America as well, but it is not found in the same areas as the silver arowana is. You would find the black arowana in the Rio Negro basin. The black arowana gets to between 2.5 to 3 feet in the home aquarium, which is significantly smaller than a silver arowana. If you realize that it's pretty much a quarter of the size. A quarter smaller, sorry. The only downside to the black arowana is the fact that it gets very pricey. You're looking at something at about 250 pounds for a black arowana. The main difference between a silver arowana and a black arowana is that on the finnage at the back, where the silver arawana's fins are clear or a bit red, you'll have a blackish tint to it. That is the biggest difference. They look very similar in most senses. They both have that silver sheen to their bodies. It's mainly just the finnage that has that different color. Alrighty then, number 2 on the list is the ARAPIAMA GIGGAS, or just the ARAPIAMA. If any of you know anything about monster fish, you will know that the ARAPIAMA is probably the largest freshwater fish in the world. It grows typically to about 7 feet, but there have been records of it reaching 15 feet. This fish is known as a tank buster, and it doesn't get that name lightly. A tank buster pretty much means that it can break through your tank. I would not recommend this fish for anyone, especially unless you have a pond, or if you are somebody who has an educational facility or a research facility that allows for these ARAPIAMA to be cared for correctly in the right sort of environment. So people like Predatory Fins have a 30-foot long by 10-foot deep tank, which I would say is the bare minimum you should be keeping ARAPIAMAs in. If this thing reaches 15 feet, you know, that's already half that tank's length gone. So these fish are fairly expensive, about 250 pounds, which you'd be surprised isn't enough to keep people away from them. They're also found in South America, and they have this lovely reddish tint towards the back half of their body where reaching their tail. They're also one of the fish that has a modified air bladder so they can actually just inhale air out of the water. They are known as a bony-tongued fish, which pretty much means that they have a bone tongue and they use that to crush their prey on the top of their mouths before digesting them. They are found in South America like the arowana and are actually farmed as food for the local people. The ARAPIAMA is a very endangered fish, so trading of them is quite difficult, so it is very rare to pick up these fish, which is why they are so sought after, because they are very rare. But a great alternative to the ARAPIAMA GIGGAS is the African arowana. And despite its name, it's not actually an arowana, it is another fish that belongs to the same family as the ARAPIAMA does. They are another bony-tongued fish. They just don't get as big. They get up to 3 feet long. The only downside to this fish, other than its price, which is around the same price as an ARAPIAMA, is the fact that it doesn't have that nice red an ARAPIAMA would. But apart from that, they're a great fish. They look very similar with the nice flattened body that they have, with the large finnage and the long elongated snake-like shape. So these fish, if you're looking for an ARAPIAMA, I would recommend not getting one. An ARAPIAMA can grow up to 6 feet in about 2 years. If you're looking at this tank is 4 foot. So this tank would probably be able to hold an ARAPIAMA in it for probably about 2 months. And this is a young ARAPIAMA before it probably reaches about 1.5 feet and has to be taken out because it'll get too big too quick. And because of its bony head, it'd probably be able to break this glass quite easily. It's not that thick. So moving on to number 3, we have the Goliath tigerfish. If any of you have seen Jeremy Wade, it's that big fish with the large teeth he's holding up against. I will put a picture up on the screen. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, a Goliath tigerfish is pretty much one of the few dream fish I have that I can't actually get very easily. It's recorded to grow usually to about 4 feet, but it can grow up to 6 feet plus. These fish are very dangerous, very aggressive, and again, they are not a fish you'd want to keep in the aquarium hobby. The main issue is they grow up to 6 feet long, and if you could house them, it would be very difficult to actually house them with anything else. You'd spend so much money buying the fish, setting up the tank, and then the fish would be stuck by itself. So it's not exactly the best fish to have. It is very aggressive, like I've said, and costs about 120 pounds. The next best thing to the Goliath tigerfish, which I wouldn't say is the best option, but if you're really set on getting a tigerfish, would be to get the African tigerfish. They look very similar, except for the African tigerfish grows up to 3 feet long. The jaw isn't as pronounced, so you don't see the massive teeth, but they still have got those unique set of jaws. They're fairly cheaper as well. They're about 75 pounds here in the UK. But again, you have to be careful. These fish are still aggressive, and you might not want to keep them with some of your other fish. You know, you spend money if you have like a nice arowana, you have some nice other fish that you've got. African tigerfish are still aggressive and will probably attack fish that are larger than them. And it probably only takes one bite from these fish because of their unique teeth just to, you know, ruin everything. So buy with caution is all I'll say. Number 4 on the list is the alligator gar. Alligator gars are probably one of the favorite fish of mine in the hobby. Alligator gars, gars in general, spotted gars, Florida gars, tropical gars, you name them, I love gars. I think they're super awesome because these fish outlive the dinosaurs. I mean, there are probably a lot of fish in the aquarium hobby that have managed to live past the dinosaurs, but I just think they're so awesome with their primitive look and their uniqueness. These fish are super cool, but the issue is an alligator gar can get up to 10 feet long. Again, that's big. That's, you know, nearly ARAPIAMA sort of territory we're pushing here. And again, these fish are very aggressive. They will go ahead and kill a lot of your fish because they just have that aggression. They are usually found in America, so you're looking at like Florida, New Orleans, that sort of region. And then as you go further north, you kind of find like spotted gar, tropical gar. But yeah, because these fish get so big, it's very difficult to actually keep them in the aquarium hobby. They are a very popular fish. You'll see a lot of them in America, but I do think they are illegal in England, not Scotland and Wales, which sucks because I want one, but at the same time it makes sense. They are so big that it really is impossible to house them. So a great alternative to these fish are the spotted gar, tropical gar, or Florida gar. These fish tend to only get up to 3 feet long. I think they cost around 100 pounds still. They are fairly expensive, but don't confuse that for the Cuban or the longnose gar, because these fish still get up to 6 feet long, and I would just say that you need to stay away from those size fish unless you have a ginormous tank. You know, you're looking at 5,000 gallons, because that's the amount of space you'll need to house one of these fish. Another couple of interesting things about the gar is that they've got these ganoid scales as opposed to regular scales. They're actually so thick that to pierce them, researchers use a drill when they try and stick tags on them to try and actually pierce their scales. That's how thick they are. Moving on, we've got number 5, and that is the pacu. As you know, I have pacu. I have 6, and pacu are absolutely beautiful fish. Red belly pacu, they've got that red belly that reminds you of a piranha. Absolutely a beautiful fish. They get to about 3 feet long. which isn't the biggest fish that we were talking about on this channel, but they get 3 feet long, but they also get 3 feet in diameter, so they get very tall, which means they take up a lot of space in the tank, so you need a fairly tall tank. So a generic 7 foot, 2 foot, 2 foot tank, which is about 200 gallons, probably won't last you that entire paku. Even if you had one in that entire tank, it wouldn't last that paku its entire life, because it would probably end up getting too tall for that tank, and you'd have to move it. So paku are very big. You want to change them for something else. Another issue that you will have with paku is that they do best in schools. So if you buy one, you have to buy, at least like 4 or 5 for them to be comfortable and to display their true personalities. Another issue is these fish are really cheap. I got 6 for 20 pounds. Yeah, so they're very, very cheap, which is one of the bigger issues, is that they're just so abundant that you can easily pick them up and it's no problem at all. So something I would recommend as an alternative is a silver dollar. Silver dollars, again, originate from the same place, South America. They're relatives to the piranha and the paku, but these guys only get up to 6 inches. Again, they're fairly cheap, schooling fish, similar, but you can get like different kinds. You can get black bars, you can get thin bars, you can get tigers, and you can get just the basic silver dollar. So they can come in a range of different patterns, which looks really nice. And you can keep them in a smaller tank, so you don't have to worry about this massive, massive fish. Moving on to number 6, we have the giant snakehead. The giant snakehead is an invasive species in America. It originates from China, and these fish are very successful predators because they are just taking over the whole of the southern part of North America. The giant snakehead gets to about 48 inches, 4 feet long. They are very aggressive and they are fairly cheap to get. I can pick one up for 20 pounds if I wanted to. So some great alternatives to the giant snakehead are other snakeheads. So you can get like the golden cobra, the emperor snakehead, the rainbow snakehead, dwarf snakeheads. These guys tend to stay 3 feet and under. So the golden cobra is about 16 inches. I'm not sure on the price. I think the price does depend on the patterns that they display. So you're looking for your most basic fish will probably be about 40 pounds, and then they probably go up to 200, 300. It just really depends on their patterns. But you still can get a nice snakehead that doesn't get too large for a relatively decent price. So you can get a rainbow snakehead, which maxes out at 8 inches for about 40 pounds, which isn't the cheapest fish in the world, but when you're looking at monster fish, it isn't too bad for a price. That you get a nice fish, you get that nice sort of body that you want in a smaller aquarium. So number 7 are koi. Koi are another large growing fish that people sometimes tend to mistake and think that if you keep them in a small environment that they won't grow to their maximum size. That is it's not how it works. Koi, you can get koi in different variations, different grades, and they come in a range of different prices. So your jumbo koi can get up to 3 feet long, and I don't know how much they cost, but I don't imagine they can come cheap. You can get Japanese koi, which can come anywhere between 22 and 26 inches. These guys, again, can get very expensive. You're talking about up to 1,000 pounds. But then you can get your cheaper domestic koi, which get to about 12 to 15 inches. You can get very beautiful patterns on these guys, and they are not as expensive. You can get like a bundle of like 10 of these fish for about 15 pounds. They just come in random, it's just a random selection of them. So you can get some really nice fish out of these, and you can get them very cheap, and they don't grow as big. They are a cold water fish. You can keep them in a basic fish tank as well, but then you'd have to move them out into a pond once they get to about a foot. They're also fairly messy, so just be careful about that as well. Finally, for the last fish on our list, we have the sturgeon. Sturgeon are very, very large growing lake fish that you would find in more temperate climates. such as Europe, North America, Canada. These fish, most sturgeon have a size range of 6 feet, and if you are one of the luckiest people in the world to have a tank that can hold these fish, you can get one that gets up to 20 feet long. So this is why we say the ARAPIAMA is one of the largest fish. Sturgeon, I think it's the beluga sturgeon, gets up to 24 feet long and over a ton, 1,100 kilograms. So what is that? That's 2,400 pounds. Yeah. These fish will range in price. I don't know what the most expensive fish is, but they range from 30 pounds and up. I think your average you're looking at is 100, 150 pounds for decently sized sturgeon from the sturgeon farm. The best alternative to a sturgeon is a dwarf sterlet. They look very similar to sturgeons. They just don't get as big. They're slow growers. They max at around 3 feet long, and they cost about 50 pounds. You will still need a decently sized pond or tank to stock them in. If you do decide to stock them in an aquarium that has a heater, just make sure that it's well oxygenated, because these fish live in highly oxygenated areas, and warmer water doesn't hold oxygen as well as colder water does. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's list. It was just something I was sitting down one day and I thought, why not do this? And so I decided to make a small list. I couldn't find 10 because I have a red-tailed catfish. He gets super big, but I mean, you can get any generic catfish that just doesn't get over 4 feet, I guess. So there wasn't a specific thing. I did want to add him in, but alas. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying indoors, watching all these videos, and like always, peace out.